to ask Tyler. Tyler made it clear that he said, look, no one can know that I'm gay. And I'm thinking, what? Tyler Perry's gay. He's not going to change.
It's just real strange that he would be found at any kind of Diddy party or any kind of place with Diddy.
Because I saw you at a Diddy party, Tyler. And you were having a glorious time.
When I said earlier, I've never seen so many cowards and black men in this business. I would have to put my brother Tyler Perry in that.
Everyone's been watching the Diddy trial unfold like a slow-motion car crash. Disturbing, explosive, and impossible to ignore. But what if I told you that Sean Combs might not be the only major name whose empire is about to crumble? Because now Monique has entered the chat, and what she's saying is pulling Tyler Perry directly into the line of fire. For years, there have been rumors about Tyler. Not the kind that lands you in handcuffs, but the kind that leaves a trail of burned bridges, especially with young, vulnerable talent. People in the industry have quietly talked about how controlling he can be, how he uses his power, and how he allegedly blackballs those who don't fall in line. Compared to what Diddy is being accused of, Tyler's behavior always seemed more Hollywood shady than criminal. But now, Monique is pushing back hard against that narrative. She's saying what Tyler has done to people, including her, is just as damaging, just less loud. And with Diddy now backed into a corner, facing a federal trial, she's warning everyone. He's about to start talking. According to her, Diddy has receipts. He knows things that could take down people who thought they were untouchable, people like Tyler Perry, and it's all coming out in the Diddy trials. For years, Jaguar Wright has been shouting into the void, warning anyone who would listen that Tyler Perry isn't the savior figure the industry paints him to be. She said it over and over again, that the same power games, manipulation, and emotional control people are now seeing in Diddy's case, Tyler's been playing them too. Maybe not in exactly the same way, but with the same kind of devastating effect, and maybe even worse, because Tyler wore the mask of the good guy. Jaguar didn't mince words. She called out how young, impressionable talent, especially black actors, were brought into Tyler's orbit, promised big breaks, only to be emotionally chewed up and silenced if they didn't fall in line. She spoke about the gatekeeping, the whispered threats, the way he allegedly used his influence to blacklist people who dared to speak up. But instead of support, she got labeled bitter, unstable, or ignored altogether. And now that Monique is echoing some of the same warnings, and Diddy's trial is cracking open the dark underbelly of fame, Jaguar's words are hitting differently. Suddenly, people are listening, connecting the dots she's been drawing for years. Maybe it's not so far-fetched. Maybe she was right all along. And if Diddy really does start talking, if those alleged receipts come out, it won't just vindicate her. It might finally expose the truth she's been screaming for years, that Tyler Perry's carefully curated legacy might have a very dark underside. You see, Tyler Perry's name was never on the docket. No lawsuits, no official accusations, nothing. That tied him directly to the mess unraveling in Diddy's courtroom. And yet, somehow, his name keeps surfacing. Quietly at first, just murmurs. But now it's showing up more boldly in conversations people never expected him to be part of. There have always been voices in the industry trying to call out what happens behind the scenes. And one of the loudest has been Jaguar Wright. She's been a lightning rod for controversy, no doubt. But what's crazy is that a lot of what she said years ago is starting to line up with what we're hearing in court now. Back then, when she said Tyler Perry was a regular at Diddy's private events, people laughed her off, called it wild. Baseless. Just another headline grab? But now? The testimonies coming out are graphic, they're specific, and they sound a lot like what Jaguar warned about. What we thought were over-the-top rants are suddenly starting to read like previews of the truth. Cassie, in particular, painted a haunting picture of what those nights were really like. Not glamorous, not exciting, but traumatic. Other women backed her up, telling stories of manipulation, fear, and silence bought with cash. Some even spoke about being blacklisted or losing jobs when they didn't play along. There are documents now, statements under oath. These aren't internet rumors anymore. This is real. And that's what makes Jaguar's old warnings about Tyler hit different now. She didn't just accuse him of being present. She said he was involved. She said he wasn't just mingling with the crowd. He was part of the inner workings. Back. Then, nobody believed her. But today, when every name tied to Diddy seems to lead to something darker, people are listening. And it's not just Jaguar. Many other people have started talking about the things Tyler has been doing.
Person was harassing me for years. I wasn't working for him. In the month and the year that he showed up to my apartment and offered me $100,000 to take my clothes off me. He said, I don't even need to touch you. I just want to see you. I declined.
When actor Christian Keys opened up about being harassed by a powerful male figure in the entertainment world, he didn't drop any names. He didn't need to. Fans instantly connected the dots, especially since Christian had once publicly referred to this man as a brother, someone he looked up to early in his career. But behind the scenes, Christian said that this so-called mentor made his life hell for years. When he spoke about being repeatedly harassed by a powerful, wealthy black man in the industry, fans began drawing their own conclusions. And many of those conclusions pointed straight to Tyler Perry.
I've been speaking to my brother about making a declaration of my experience. What I experienced with certain powers that be that were moving inappropriately. And I really, like, it's in my bone marrow to discuss that, because thankfully God built me the way that he built me.
Christian described this figure as someone who openly boasted about having a long list of young black men on his payroll, men who were expected to be available at a moment's notice.
Once the started, I was like, well, I gotta protect me, because I'm saying no, and I don't want this person, as powerful as they are, to try to get in the way of my.
He talked about how this man had produced documentaries, flaunted his success, and moved through Hollywood like an untouchable force. The clues were subtle but familiar, especially to those who have followed Tyler Perry's rise and the quiet. Rumors that have surrounded him for years. Christian's video on Instagram wasn't vague or emotionally detached. It was raw. He spoke with the kind of heaviness that comes from carrying something for far too long. He said it was time to finally speak up, that this conversation was necessary because far too many people in the industry were being hurt behind closed doors, and no one was talking about it. He shared that it didn't happen just once. It was constant. And every time he rejected the advances, he feared for his career. This person had power. Real, career-ending power. And Christian knew it. He was scared, but he held his ground. At one point, he said the man offered him $100,000 to take his clothes off. Christian said no. The man later tried to smooth things over by offering to buy him a car, as if the problem could be solved with a gift. But Christian didn't forget. In fact, he kept the receipts. Literally. He revealed that he's been carrying a voice recorder since 2005 and has recorded multiple interactions with this individual. He made it clear NDAs don't protect predators from justice, especially when those recordings can be handed to the authorities. Now that Christian Keys has come forward with his story, it's hard not to notice the disturbing similarities between his experience and the allegations piling up against Sean Diddy Combs. If you listen closely to what Christian said about being offered large sums of money in exchange for degrading acts, about being manipulated, groped, and even recorded, it mirrors the same tactics Diddy allegedly used on multiple victims. Sound familiar? It should, because that same pattern, using money, gifts, and power to get what he wanted, has been at the center of every accusation made against Diddy so far. Women like Cassie have said Diddy would set up elaborate situations, offer money, force NDAs, and keep footage of what happened, turning private moments into leverage. And Christian, he says he's been keeping his own receipts too. Voice recordings, proof, documentation. Not for fame, not for lawsuits, but to finally have control over his truth after years of being silenced. What's even more alarming is that the man Christian is hinting at, widely speculated to be Tyler Perry, has also been rumored to have attended some of Diddy's now infamous parties. And if that's true, it wouldn't be far-fetched to say he might have picked up more than a few habits from the music mogul. The same formula: power, manipulation, hush money, and control. The same pattern of surrounding yourself with young talent and making them feel like their careers depend on pleasing you. What used to sound like a wild conspiracy is now starting to look like a blueprint, one that Diddy allegedly followed for years and one that others, possibly Tyler Perry included, may have studied closely. If that's the case, then Christian's story isn't just one man speaking up, it's the first crack in another foundation built on exploitation. Christian also opened up about a night that, he said, has haunted him for years. According to him, he was resting after a night of heavy drinking, something common in the industry, especially after big events. But what followed, he said, was not just uncomfortable, it was traumatic.